Hello, and welcome to another OHSAA local meeting. This will be the second of two local meetings that are presented by OHSAA. My name is Frank Grubb. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Central Ohio Baseball Umpires Association, and I've been umpiring in the state of Ohio for around 29 years. Today, we're going to do a Blue Book review. This meeting will be focused on basically the beginning and intermediate umpire. This is going to be very basic review of the Blue Book and showing some video about positioning and basic mechanics. We're going to cover some basic plate mechanics, positioning for pitches, where to go and when. And then we're going to cover base mechanics, our positioning in A, B, and C, and where to go and when. We will try to shy away from the mechanics covered by the other local association meeting presented by OHSAA at the beginning of April. So our goals for this meeting are to review our mechanics from a beginner and intermediate level, as I just said. We have many umpires in the state who have gotten their license in the last few years and who have had very little mechanics training. We've noticed this on the field last year as we've forgotten some of our basic mechanics. We also want to provide some reminders as far as what we do as umpires. The question often comes up, why do we have the Blue Book? The Blue Book was established for standard mechanics across the state. As if any of you work football, you'll know that we have the Gold Book in football developed by Dr. Bruce Maurer. And we wanted to establish the same thing for baseball. Now we got to go through some general reminders. And a lot of these things our veteran umpires may laugh at, but to be honest with you, these are things that we still see today. And we want to remind all of our umpires around the state of Ohio, these are important things to cover as you go through the season and important things to make sure you do as well. The first one here, always clean your shoes before each game. We've all seen that umpire that shakes off his pants and shows up with dirty shoes. It's a good idea to clean them after each game. That way they're ready to go before the next game. Just make sure you have clean shoes as you go out there on the field. Once you enter the confines of the field, never lay your mask down. Hang it on a fence or put it on the bench. It's important to keep your mask in your hands. When there's a pop-up that the catcher is fielding, the plate umpire should keep their mask on until the catcher throws it. The last thing we want to do is catch the catcher's mask in our teeth. The plate umpire should clean the plate off with a brush before each half inning with his butt facing the pitching mound. Believe it or not, there are some umpires that don't know this. Always take your mask off with your left hand and always carry an indicator in your left hand. Again, with the left hand, appeal with your left hand. Did he go? During defensive conferences, the base umpire should go to the outfield. During pitching changes, the base umpire should count the number of pitches and tell the plate umpire non-verbally when they have had 5 warm-ups. Partners should only meet if it is essential during the game. We shouldn't meet at the foul line every half inning and just talk about how the day's going. Every once in a while, it's okay to get together. Just to give your partner a pep talk if he's struggling, or just to go over a certain play situation that may have had in the previous inning. Always walk on and off the field together with your partner, and always put the ball in play after it has been declared dead. This includes at the beginning of each inning, after a foul ball, any reason that the ball became dead by rule, or we halted the game for time. We always want to put the ball back in play after it happens. And also keep track of all your conferences. All right, now let's go over the required uniform. Again, gray pants, either heather or charcoal for the regular season, sectional and district tournaments. Regionals and state must be charcoal gray. The Major League Umpire navy shirt with the OHSAA embroidered or sublimated logo. Do not wear a long sleeve undergarment under the short sleeve shirt. A long sleeve shirt is permitted, and you can wear a long sleeve undergarment under that if you would wish. Jackets, if worn, shall be the red shoulder stripe model. navy with red and white trim on the shoulder, and must include an OHSAA logo. Visible undershirts should be red. Obviously, black socks, predominantly black shoes with black laces for both the plate and the bases. It is okay to have some white on your shoes. They still need to be predominantly black. And then a black belt and an OHSAA logoed hat, either navy blue with the logo embroidered on the crown. Should not have any other patches or emblems or numbers permitted on the official uniform. An American flag patch emblem is optional. If it is worn, it should be on the left sleeve with the star facing the front. We shouldn't wear any jewelry that is visible except for a wedding ring. All umpires on the crew should dress alike. It is permissible for the plate umpire to wear a shirt or long or short sleeve, and the base umpire to wear a jacket. The plate umpire shall wear all protective equipment. This includes your chest protector, your mask, shin guards, and a protective cup, and plate shoes. All right, now let's go over some game day procedures, just some reminders as you start the season off and you start taking your schedule. Verify with the home school start time, location, and any accommodations, parking lot, locker room a few days prior to the game. Verify with your partner at least 24 hours prior to the game. This is a good idea to figure out where you're going to park and who is going to take the plate and who is going to take the bases. Arrive at the game site at least 30 minutes prior to the start, and always have a pregame with your partner. And get to the field approximately 5 minutes prior to the start. Please don't make the coaches and players wait for you. As we've gotten to the field, we want to meet with both head coaches together at the plate. The plate umpire stands at the point of the plate. The base umpire stands directly across from the plate umpire facing the backstop. Please be cordial and introduce yourself to the coaches. I know with COVID, we may not always shake hands. We may just use a fist bump. Do ever what's right for you. The plate umpire should take the home team lineup card first and then the visiting teams. Make sure you review the lineup card, make sure that they have all the player positions on there, make sure they have their substitutions listed if at all possible. If there's a DH, make sure that DH is applied correctly and verify that with the head coach. We want to then ask our coaches if the teams are legally equipped, and then we want to remind them about our sportsmanship policies. Once all that is done, we'll want to ask the home team to take us around the diamond. You may want to start with the backstop and have him go one direction instead of jumping all over the field, so that we're very clear about what the ground rules are for that particular field. As far as the national anthem goes, the plate umpire stands to the left and the base umpire stands to the right behind the home plate. The picture we have here, we actually have 4 umpires. You would pretty much stand where the middle 2 are as you're having the national anthem. Following the national anthem, base umpire gives a little fist bump to the plate umpire and then jogs up the first base line into shallow right field. The plate umpire should watch some pitches and get his or her eyes adjusted while the pitcher warms up. Now let's talk about some basic plate mechanics. We want to focus on working the slot. It is recommended that you work with a box stance where the left foot is slightly in front of the right foot on a right-handed batter, with a clear view of the outside corner. As you can see here in this demonstration, the right foot is slightly ahead of the left foot in that what we call a heel-toe relationship. The toe of the right foot is behind the heel of the left foot here. And this umpire has a good view of that outside corner. Here's a front view of the slot position. The goal here is to be able to judge that low outside pitch and be able to see through the slot to the outside corner. If you're directly behind the catcher, it is impossible to see through the head. The head height is also important. It should be placed approximately with your chin, approximately the same height as the top of the catcher's skull cap or helmet. As we call balls and strikes, the plate umpire should track the ball from the pitcher's hand by moving his or her eyes, keeping the head still. Once the ball is received, determine if any part of the ball entered the strike zone. We want to make sure that we use proper timing, slow our timing down, and let your mind digest what your eyes have seen, and then determine if it was a strike or a ball. And then, as you can see here, call a strike by raising up and using signal 4 in the blue book, as you see here in the first picture. And then if it's a ball, we'll want to stay down there and in your stance as we verbalize the word ball. We're now going to watch a little bit of a video about calling balls and strikes.
And we have a certain stance and position that we do this in. We don't just hide behind the catcher and let the ball come in. What we try to do is place ourselves with our right foot down the middle of the back, coming in, pointing towards the second baseman. Our left foot comes up into the slot. The slot is that position between the catcher and the batter. Being up in the slot allows us to see the outside corner. From this position here, we have a nice, wide, comfortable base, so we be able to keep our balance and get out of the way of the catcher if we need to. From here, we bend at the knees, not at the waist to go down. We keep both heels on the ground when we bend. From here, we go straight down, and then we go into the pitch. Into the pitch is just leaning in enough so we can see that outside corner, and we're aggressively into the pitch. My head position, my chin is at the top of the catcher's head. This is basically the top of the strike zone. So from back out here, we come in with our right foot towards the second baseman, our left foot up in the slot. We bend at the knees, not at the waist, bringing our head to a position where our chin is at the top of the catcher's head. We take our elbows and lock them in at the thighs here, so we're set and not drifting with the pitch coming down. Our hands are in front of our crotch. We don't put them like this taut, because if the ball hits the fingers and they're tight, it has a chance of breaking our fingers. If we leave our fingers loose and a ball hits them, then we have more of a chance of giving way, so we don't break our fingers, and we protect our crotch at the same time. We want to be in this position down here, aggressively into the pitch, and making sure that we're up into the slot so we can see that outside corner. Another important thing about calling balls and strikes is not drifting down as the ball comes in. We want to come in here and go from point A to point B, and I'm locked in so I can't move, drift, or duck as the ball comes in. We're going to bring Mike Pilato in to demonstrate with full equipment exactly what we're talking about as a plate umpire. Mike walks into his position with his right foot down the middle of the catcher's back. His left foot goes up into the slot in between the catcher and the batter so he can see that outside corner. From here, he goes from point A to point B, bending at the knees, and notice his back is aggressively into the pitch, but not bent over to the point where he's falling down or having to look down and fight his eyes up to see the strike zone. Step back and relax. Stepping back and relax is very important. We call 300 pitches a game. If our legs are tight for 3 hours, we're never going to make it. And this is our only chance to step back and give our legs a little break there. Stepping in again, he gets a nice wide base up into the slot, bending at the knees, point A to point B, and he's locked in. His elbows are locked in, his hands are protecting his crotch, his chin is at the top of the catcher's head, and he can see that outside corner from there. This is the pitch that you need to see as an umpire. Mike, can you see this pitch?
Yes, I can.
If Mike was to work lower, down by the catcher's head, he would have to look through the catcher's head to see this outside pitch. So we want to make sure that we're up into a position where we're looking over the catcher's head to see this outside corner. This is where pitchers make their money and want to throw to get batters out. Right here. Mike, you can see this outside corner?
Yes, I can.
Step back and relax. Another thing important is that his equipment is facing 80% towards the field. This is the protection that we carry to protect ourselves from the ball hitting the ground. If he was to work sideways and a ball was to come in, it would hit him in such a place where his equipment is not. So by keeping 80% of our body out towards the field, we can protect ourselves and still be able to do our job and see what we need to see down by the plate. This is a good, strong position for a plate umpire, and we suggest that you work hard to get into this position, and I guarantee you'll be able to call balls and strikes from this position here.
Here's a demonstration of calling balls and strikes.
Hook one. Notice that the strike call is the same as the out call, but you yell strike. On the ball call, you stay down and say ball. The third strike is usually more emphatic.
All right, let's talk about basic base umpire mechanics now. One of the things we'll always want to be as the play develops is we'll want to be set either with our hands on the knees or a standing set position. We'll want to keep our eyes on the ball and let it take us, the ball take us to the play. And then we also want to use good timing throughout our game. And then also good clean signals. As you can see here in the diagrams here, this is what our safe signal should look like and our out signal. Let's go ahead and go to a video here and we'll demonstrate more on this topic.
To make a call as an umpire, what we need to do is get into a set position, a standard set position. Ed Hickok's here going to demonstrate for us. What we do is we take our feet and we spread them shoulder width apart so we're in a nice comfortable position. 75% of our weight is on the balls of our feet, so we're ready to move forward to any plays that we might need to go. From this comfortable position here, we bend at the waist, taking the thumbs on the inside of the knees and locking them in just above the knee. From here, he's stopped, he's set, his head is level, his eyes are level, and he's fixated on the play that he needs to call, which is moving. To call an out from this position, what we do is we stand straight up to use our height. We raise our right arm up, parallel to the ground, about shoulder length up, and we snap the wrist off. From here, that snap of the wrist is put in unison with voice. So an out call should look something like this. Set, call it. He's out. And that's your out call.
The drill for set position and out call.
These will be out. Go. Stop. Call it. He's out. Go. Stop. Call it. He's out. Go. Stop. Call it. He's out. All right, good job, guys. Good out calls. Also from this set position, we have to call a safe call. How we do this is basically a four-step process. What we do is we stand straight up using our height again, bringing our arms, 1, out in front of our body. 2, we bring them out to the side, and we're going to put this together with voice. 3, we take them back to the front of our body, and 4, we get back down to the set position. The call should look something like this. Set, call it. Safe! And that's your safe call.
The drill for the set position and safe call.
These will be safes. Go. Stop. Call it. Safe! Go. Stop. Call it. Safe! Go. Stop. Call it. Safe! All right, good strong safe calls, guys. We've talked about the regular set position. Now we're going to talk about the standing set position. The standing set position is used in the outfield to judge plays or plays that are across the diamond that we can't get right on top of. To do this, Ed's going to demonstrate if the ball is hit out to right field, he keeps his eyes on the ball as the ball is going out to the fielder. Before the fielder makes the play, he's going to get into his standing set position. Notice he's stopped, his shoulders are still square to the play, and more important, his eyes are stopped and level. From this standing set position, he can go ahead and make the call.
All right, now that we've covered the basics of both the plate position and the base position, we're going to cover the some various play scenarios. And we're going to look at when our U1 umpire, or base umpire, is in both all the A, B, and C positions. The first one is the basic with U1 in A. You'll notice here that he's located in foul territory, right on the first baseline. He's about 10 feet behind F3. If F3 starts to creep back towards the outfield grass, that distance will get shorter, and it could be to the point where he's only a couple of steps behind that if the first baseman is playing very deep. The plate umpire, of course, is behind the catcher. Let's talk a little bit about fair foul responsibility. The plate umpire will have up to the front edge of first base and all the way to the foul pole down the third base line. Once the ball passes and breaks that plane of glass that is the front edge of first base, the first base umpire or the base umpire has fair foul responsibility down the right field line from the front edge of the plate all the way to the foul pole and beyond. Now let's talk about fly ball and line drive responsibilities. In this scenario with the base umpire in A, they're going to split the outfield. So anything that goes to the center fielder towards the left fielder and all the way to the left field line and the left field foul pole is going to be the plate umpire's responsibility. Anything that is going towards with the center fielder coming in or going straight out or coming over to the right fielder, and anything to the right fielder is going to be the base umpire's responsibility at the beginning. In this case, and we'll demonstrate this here in a second, if the base umpire does not go out and comes in and pivots, it will be the responsibility of the plate umpire at that point. As far as line drive responsibility goes, all line drives in the infield except for F3 and F4 straight in or diving to their left will be the responsibility of the plate umpire. As far as the base umpire goes, the quick line drives to F3 and F4 straight in or diving to their left will be his responsibility. Now let's go to another video that's going to demonstrate coming in and going out.
Whether the ball is in the outfield or the infield, and you have to determine whether the ball has been caught or not caught, you want to make sure that you're stopped before you have to determine that play. If the ball has been caught, you simply move towards that play with your arm up in the air yelling, "That's a catch! That's a catch!" If the ball has not been caught, it's the same movement, except your arms are extended out, yelling, "No catch! No catch!" as you're moving towards that play. With your arms extended out like this, you're letting everybody in the ballpark know that the ball has not been caught.
Here are examples of both calls.
I'm going out. That's a catch.
Note that the base umpire shouts, "I'm going out," to the plate umpire, then makes the call.
I'm going out. No catch. No catch.
When the umpire has to determine whether it's a fair or foul ball, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind. You want to make sure that you're straddling the foul line and stop before you have to determine whether that ball is fair or foul. If you determine that the ball is fair, it's a simple little step in and a point. There's no voice used on a fair ball call. Just a little step and point. On a foul ball call, it's basically the same position. You want to be straddling the foul line. You want to be stopped before you have to determine whether that ball is fair or foul. If the ball is a foul ball, you simply come up with two hands above your head, yelling, "Foul!" and then a little point. This way, everybody knows that the ball is foul. Foul ball.
Going out. Going out. Foul ball. I got the ball, Mike.
On this home run call, note that the base umpire shouts, "I've got the ball," signals fair ball, then circles with his finger.
Okay, back to our slide deck. Let's talk a little bit about a fly ball or line drive to right field where U1 goes out. As you can see here in the diagram here, the plate umpire will come out from behind the plate and take the batter runner up to first base. If the batter runner decides to go to second or third, he'll continue in that arc pattern there. You don't need to chase the base runner, but you'll want to make the shortest distance you can and read the play as you go as the plate umpire. As far as the base umpire goes, once the ball is either uncaught and is coming back into the infield, if you can make it back to the plate, you can, and you can communicate with your partner to get back into position to take the play at the plate if there is going to be a play at the plate. I think in my umpire career, this has only happened maybe once It's not something that commonly happens, but you need to be prepared for it. Now let's talk about a base hit, if a possible triple. Nobody's going out on this play. You can see here that U1 is coming in and he's going to take a pivot, and we'll have a video on this in just a second. The plate umpire is going to clear the catcher and move into fair territory and just observe. If he reads that the base umpire gets stuck or isn't able to come in and make the pivot, he may need to pick up the batter runner. Once he sees the batter runner heading from second towards third, this is where the plate umpire wants to retreat back behind the plate and be ready for a play at the plate. And we'll go ahead and go to our video now.
With nobody on base and the base umpire in his regular position, when there's a base hit out to the outfield, that umpire needs to come in here, get turned around ahead of the runner, and still watch the batter runner touch first base. The way we do this is a pivot. The pivot is basically a three-step movement. You want to make sure that you're in here on the infield grass, your left foot gets planted, right foot it's a little jump as you watch the batter runner touch first base, and your left foot goes directly towards second base. You want to make sure that you're under control here so you don't pull yourself back from going away from the play that you need to get to. From here, it's just a simple cross step to stay ahead of the runner. If the batter runner goes back to first base, you simply cross step back to first base, turn and face the ball. You have the runner there and the outfield and the ball in front of you. This is a good position to be in.
The pivot allows the umpire to get ahead of the runner and see him touch first base. If the runner goes back to first, the umpire follows, so that the play is in front of him. On this pivot, with the runner going to second, the umpire must watch the ball and glance at the runner while moving into position to call any potential play.
Okay, now that we've covered the pivot, let's just talk about ground balls to the infield. As you can see here, the plate umpire, once he clears the catcher, is going to go up to the first baseline since there's nobody else on. The only responsibility we have here is the batter runner. You want to get to approximately the 45-foot line. Depending on your athletic ability, some of us may not be getting to the 45-foot line any longer. But what the key here for the plate umpire is to get up the line, get set, so that we can see swipe tags, pulled foots, and any other funny business that may happen. The other thing you'll want to focus on is if the ball is fielded by the pitcher or the catcher or a third baseman playing way in, you'll want to make sure that the running lane interference rule does not apply to the batter runner. As far as the base umpire goes, we'll want to get a 90-degree angle from where the play is being made, and we'll demonstrate this in the video here in just a second. You'll want to read the throw and then turn towards the base. Let the ball take you into the first baseman. If the play is close, you'll want to sell that call. If there's a tag, say on the tag. If the foot is pulled, you want to give a sweeping motion with both arms and say off the bag. If the ball gets by the F3 of the first baseman, move into the infield and avoid the batter runner. And now we'll go to a video again that demonstrates the angles at first base.
The best vantage point for calling plays at first is a 90-degree angle from the ball to your position. If the ball is hit to third base and the throw goes to first, your 90-degree angle position is here. On a ball hit to short, the position will be here. To second base, the position will be here. From his set position, the umpire runs to a spot on the infield dirt at a 90-degree angle to the play and the ball. He pulls his eyes ahead of the throw, gets set for the play, and makes the call. From his set position on the first baseline, he moves to a point on the infield dirt where he can watch the fielders and the base runner. Note that he pulls his eyes ahead of the throw. Here's the play again at regular speed.
Here though.
On the swipe tag, the umpire must recognize that the throw is off and move toward the line to see if the fielder's attempt at making the tag is successful. Note that the umpire remains standing and moves toward the line so that his view isn't blocked by the first baseman. Now watch the play again at regular speed.
On the tag, he's out.
If the first baseman pulls his foot off the bag, the umpire signals the runner safe and motions, saying, "You're off the bag." Here's the play again at normal speed.
Safe, you're off the bag.
All right, now that we've covered the positioning with nobody on and taking plays at first base, let's now move the first base umpire into the B position with a runner on first base. As you see here, the base umpire is located on a tangent line halfway between the second base and the pitcher's rubber. As far as fair foul responsibilities, the base umpire does not have any fair foul responsibilities when he's in this position. The plate umpire would have all the fair foul responsibilities, both up the first base line all the way to the outfield wall and beyond, and up the third base line as well. The U1 or the base umpire should be squared facing home plate, and he should straddle an imaginary line on the outside edge of the pitcher's mound, as I've already said. With U1 in the middle. As you can see here, U1 has what we call the V. As you can see here, U1 has what we call the V. This is the left fielder all the way to the right fielder coming in or going out. The plate umpire would only have those balls that are heading towards the left field or right field line. It's important here for the base umpire and the plate umpire to communicate on who's taking the ball responsibility when it's a fly ball or a line drive. As far as line drives go, the plate umpire will take F3 and F5 towards their foul line, and then F7 and F9 when they're moving toward their foul line as well. U1 would take F3 and F5 straight in, straight back, and towards the middle of the infield, and then again the shortstop and the second baseman. Here we can see a quick demonstration of a fly ball to right field. U1 has the catch, no catch. This is not one that's going towards the line. U1 would get in a position where he can be ready to be prepared for R1 moving. If R1 does decide to advance towards second base, this is a situation where the plate umpire would want to rotate up to third. Again, here's a situation where we've got a runner on first. The ball is down the right field line, so the plate umpire is going to take responsibility for this ball. He's going to move up the first base line, get in a position where he can see the catch or no catch or fair foul if that's the situation. In this case, he is not going to try to rotate up to third. He's just going to retreat to home. If R1 does advance, the base umpire would have that the whole way. And here's a clean base hit. In this case, it's right field. It could be left field, but it's a clean base hit. R1 is going to advance here in this case. If the plate umpire will need to read this and make sure he communicates with his base umpire, I've got third, and move it up into foul territory. Once R1 has committed towards third base, you'll want to make sure that you come in then into the cutout and make the call if there is one at third base. The base umpire in this case just needs to be prepared to take any plays at second base by either R1 or the batter runner. And then we can cover a ground ball here briefly. This is a situation I believe that was covered in the previous local meeting, virtual local meeting. As far as footwork goes, you'll want to make sure that you're in a position, put your chest towards the ball, see that play at second base, and if there's subsequent play at first base. Never assume where the throw is going to be made. Always watch the throw and make sure you know where the throw is going. Now we're going to talk about runner on second. A lot of this is the same information that we've already covered. In this case, we're just in a position on a tangent line again, with halfway between second base and third base. We're just now on the third base side of the bag. And then again, fly ball to the outfield. In this case, the plate umpire is not going to rotate up. He's going to stay home. We should make sure that we're communicating that as well to our partner. U1 will now have R2 into third base, and also any action on the batter runner, either at first base or second base. It's important here that the base umpire does not overcommit towards one runner or to the other, and then read the play. Let the play take you to where you need to be. We talk about moving into the working area, which is directly behind home plate, or no, I'm sorry, directly behind the pitching mound, and this will put us in a position where we can take action at any base that we need to in this situation. In this case, also there's a fly ball to the outfield. R2 is tagging up. You'll want to make sure you position yourself so that you can see both the tag up and the catch, no catch, and then move into position to rule on any action on R2 into third base. Again, base hit, same thing here. You just want to make sure you're in a good position, move into the working area, and be prepared to make any calls at any of the bases. The plate umpire, it's important here to move into position. I usually just go out into the infield and read the play a little bit. If I can see that the R2 is going to be heading for home, I definitely don't want to overcommit there, and I want to make sure that I'm in position in case the throw comes home. Now let's talk about R3. Again, we're in that C position. Again, the plate umpire is going to be staying home. One thing here is on a fly ball situation, the plate umpire is going to have that tag up of the runner at third, moving towards the home plate. What you'll want to do if you're the plate umpire is move well into foul territory so that you can kind of have both visual on the catch, no catch, as well as that runner tagging up at third. It's very difficult to line this up unless you get very deep. And then once that catch is made, you'll need to hustle back and expect a throw from the outfield to the catcher. As far as the base umpire in this situation, they have catch, no catch responsibility, and they'll just need to make sure that if the ball is not caught, they're in a position to be able to rule on anything on the batter runner. Here we have a runner at third as well, with a fly ball down the right field line. The plate umpire is taking responsibility for that. It's very difficult. Don't overcommit here. You'll want to just move up a short distance up the baseline, straddle the line, rule fair, foul, catch, no catch. You still have the responsibility for the tag at third. This is a situation where the base umpire still wants to keep eyes on the ball. It's very difficult for them to see a catch, no catch, or a tag up with the runner at third base in this situation. And then here we have a base hit, and obviously U1 would then take the batter runner, and the plate umpire would stay home, watch R3 touch home, and then observe. Now let's move into a situation where we've got multiple runners. We now have a runner at first and a runner at second. You'll notice that the base umpire again is in the position of the C position. In less than 2 outs, we want to make sure that we're indicating that it's an infield fly situation. In this case, we're going to use a signal where we're tapping our hand and pointing to third. This signifies that the plate umpire on a tag up situation would be going to third to cover R2 advancing to third on a caught fly ball. Here we have a routine fly ball catch. U1 has the catch, and R2 is tagging up. So if the fly ball is not caught, the plate I apologize for that. If the fly ball is not caught, the plate umpire is going to need to retreat home. If it is caught, he's going to move up to third and take R2 advancing to third if that happens. Once you read that the play is going to happen, you'll want to move into the cutout inside fair territory. One of the reasons we want to move into side fair territory for these types of plays is so that if there is an overthrow, you can retreat to home and not be in either the runner's way or the throwing lane for the player retrieving the ball and throwing towards home. More often than not, there's not going to be a play at the plate, but you do need to get back and try to make that call at the plate if there is one. This is a situation where you're going to take that play from inside the infield and not outside of the point of the plate or the wedge, as we've talked about in previous meetings. As far as U1 goes, obviously you have the tag up situation of R2 at second base, as well as R1 at first base. More often than not, R1's not usually tagging up in these types of situations, but it does happen occasionally. You'll want to make sure that you're in a position once you release R2 to third base, make sure the plate umpire is coming up covering this play at third base. Sometimes we forget, so make sure that we have coverage there. Once you're sure that we have coverage, then you'll want to make sure that you move into position to rule on anything on R1, either at second base or first base if it was caught. And then obviously if we have a batter runner, you're going to have responsibility for all three runners at all the bases in that situation. And again, this is a fly ball down the right field line with multiple runners on. The plate umpire needs to go up and have the catch, no catch. In this situation, you're going to do the best job you can as a base umpire and line up R2 at second base. If he's tagging up, which more than likely he will be, and trying to advance, you would then have responsibility for that play at third base if there is one, as well as any other throw. So this is a prime example of why we don't want to overcommit towards third base because there could potentially be a play on R1 either at first base or second base. And then with R1 and R2, we have a base hit. Again, you're going to have all the batter runner R1 and R2 and any plays on them at any of the bases. Again, this is a prime example of why we want to move into the working area and not overcommit to one way or another, and then read the play and take us to where the ball is going to be. Here we have a ground ball. This is the prime example of a double play opportunity. You'll want to make sure that you're sliding over. More than likely, the first play is going to be at second base, but make sure you're prepared for a play to go to any base at this point and to be able to rule on that play at any of the three bases. The plate umpire in this situation, you want to make sure that you're observing that the slide is legal by R1 at second base. If it is a double play situation. And in those situations, you're not going to be able to get up as far out because you still need to be able to retreat to home if R2 decides to try to advance to home plate. And then now we have runners at first and third. This is a prime example if we want to communicate here. On what we're doing. In this situation, U1 with runners at first and third, you should move back into the B position. More than likely, we're going to have a standard double play. You typically don't have very many plays at third in this situation, but you still need to be prepared to take any plays there. On a routine fly, the plate umpire is going to stay home in this situation. He is going to have the tag up of the runner at third. You're going to have the tag up of the runner at first. And then if the ball is dropped, you'll have R1 at second and third, as well as R2, the batter runner advancing from first and then potentially to second base. And then again, with a fly down the line, the plate umpire is really not going to be able to get up the line much. If you can, just a little bit. In some situations, if you're going to read a catch, no catch situation where it's going to be obviously caught, you may not necessarily want to move up the line at all, and you want to be in a position where you can see R3 still. If it's going to be a tight catch, no catch, or tight fair foul, you do want to move up the line a little bit. We can forgo that tag up at R3, but just be cognizant of it, that we still need to be aware of it. So we can kind of have an idea of where R3 is. This is a very tough situation for the plate umpire to be in, but we'd have to do the best we can. U1 again is going to observe the ball and then take R1, the tag up there, so that you can see the tag up, and then any advancement of the batter runner or R1. And then a base hit here. This is a situation where we are going to do a standard rotation. We've read base hit. What you're going to do is you're going to move up in foul territory. You're going to watch R3 touch home plate over your shoulder. This is a tough thing that we've got to make sure we still observe R3 touching home plate, and we don't want to be waiting at the plate for him to do that before you advance. In a situation where it's a clean base hit, R1 is more than likely going to try to advance to third, and this is going to be your responsibility for the runner at first, moving to third and making that call if you're the plate umpire. As far as the base umpire goes, be prepared to make that play, take that play at third base if needed, with R1 advancing. This is why communication is key in this situation between the base umpire and the plate umpire. The plate umpire should be yelling out to his base umpire, "I've got third," or "I've got third" if he comes. The read here really is if R1 is moving hard towards second base, the plate umpire should be moving quickly to third base, assuming that he's going to touch second base and continue on. If he's kind of just lollygagging it to second base, then you can pretty reasonably assume he's not going to try to advance, but you still need to be in position to move if you need to. And then here we have a ground ball into the infield. In a situation where we have multiple runners and the ball stays in the infield, we're not going to rotate to third as the plate umpire. We're going to make sure we're in a position where we can see R3 touch home if he advances to home. Obviously, if the throw comes home, we need to be prepared for that. The base umpire would then obviously be responsible for the force outs at second and first base there. Then we have runners second and third in this situation. Once we get second and third, U1 moves back into the C position. Again, there's no rotations. We're going to signal that the plate umpire is staying home on all situations in this case. We also want to make sure that we signal that there's potential of timing play, where if we have a tag situation or a non-force out and a close play at the plate, as far as if scoring before the third out, we'll want to make sure that that timing play is covered and that the potential timing play signal is just tapping the wrist. In this case, we have a routine fly ball. U1 has the catch or no catch, the runner's tag. Plate umpire is taking the tag up of R3, and the base umpire is taking the tag up of R2. This is a situation if it's a high fly ball where U1 is reasonably assumes it's going to be an easy catch, no catch. U1 can move back into that working area like we talked about behind the plate or behind the mound there, and then easily move into, once he observes that tag up, easily move into a position so that he can take that R2 into third base if there is a throw there. If it's going to be a tight catch, no catch, this may not be something where you want to move backwards away from the ball, but get a better angle, maybe move towards the cut of the grass there. And then a base hit, of course, U1, the base umpire is going to have all the bases as far as any plays at those bases. And then bases loaded. Again, the plate umpire is going to be staying home in all situations here. Obviously, we have potential for timing plays here as well. And then U1 will be starting in the C position. Not much else is different here. Again, the base umpire has all the plays on bases. If it's a tag up situation, the plate umpire will watch the tag up of R3 at third base. U1 has all other tag ups in that situation. And then a base hit, again, the base umpire has all responsibility on the bases. The plate umpire will observe, making sure that any runners that advance home will touch home plate. And that is it. I want to thank you and good luck this season. You can see here the video that we used was hosted on YouTube by Umpire Basics, posted by Joey Imperial, and a link there to that video if you want to watch all of it. And thank you and have a great season.